So in this video, you're about to see Ghislaine Maxwell's own lawyer completely melt down when confronted with the undeniable new evidence of Donald Trump's connection to Jeffrey Epstein, and the desperate bad faith deflections that follow are a sight to behold. If you believe that it's time for the truth to come out, show your support by hitting the like and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. Now let's watch this together, and then I'll give my 2 cents at the end.
Tonight, House Democrats bring the receipts. Back in July, the Wall Street Journal reported on a book of letters given to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday in 2023. Now, that letter included a message from President Trump. He's denied having anything to do with the letter, but now Epstein's estate has given a trove of documents to the House Oversight Committee. That included a birthday book, including this page that you see right there. It's a sketch of a woman's body talking about enigmas never aging, a wonderful secret. And, of course, down at the bottom there, that looks very much like a Trump signature. Now, after the initial report, MAGA jumped all over this. They called it bullshit, fake, bogus, insanity, defamatory, trash, all of that. All of them taking a cue from Trump himself.
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name.
I don't do drawings. I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings.
Maybe he doesn't do drawings.
He does drawings.
But it does look...
He does do drawings.
He does do drawings. But it does look like his signature.
Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting because they immediately went online and started to try to do that detective thing. Like when something happens, everyone's like trying to prove signatures and this and that. What the Journal did, and let me just pay a compliment to Rupert Murdoch, who had a very good day. He settled with his family. This came out, and its editor, Emma Tucker, they've stuck by their... They've stuck hard on this thing. And I think what they did in the second story is a visual representation of all the different things. And so where Trump said, I don't say that word, they showed 8 or 9 examples of him using the word, 8 or 9 examples of him using just Donald. And I think they've just done a great job here. And it's going to be very hard for Trump to deny this, although that's exactly what he's going to do. He's just going to don't believe your lying eyes.
I mean, people should look at what he writes here. I mean, he's talking about sharing a secret. And the way this is written, it's like he's writing it to like a high school boyfriend or something. It is very disturbing and creepy how close he was to Jeffrey Epstein, just once again, a sex trafficker. And I have to say, I just don't understand how Republicans can't say, let's release the files. Why can't we release the files? He literally turned to Americans and said, this picture never happened. It obviously did happen. They have no credibility. Release the files so we can actually deal with all the people who are involved in a pedophile sex trafficking ring.
There's a second piece of, I guess, evidence that the Oversight Committee Democrats released today. This is a picture of Jeffrey Epstein with a few other individuals, and the photo shows a check that is signed by Donald Trump for $22,500. And it says, Jeffrey, showing early talents with money and women, sells fully depreciated blank to Donald Trump for $22,500. So, look, there's a lot going on here that is unclear. But it is also clear that there are embarrassing things that the president doesn't want out. And instead of just saying, this is embarrassing, they were friends, they're no longer friends, the White House is saying, well, none of this exists. This is all a hoax. This is all a scam, like the Russia investigation that they also say is a hoax.
Well, I think we had a typo up front. It was 2003 when the letter was allegedly given to him, not 2023.
Yeah.
Donald Trump says it's not him. He's filing suit against the Wall Street Journal. I guess a court will let us know if it's true or not. I think a bigger question here is Democrats have suddenly taken an interest in this when they didn't have an interest in it just when Joe Biden was president. The Department of Justice didn't release any of this. No Democrat was calling for any of it to be released back then.
I've heard all about this. This is a great talking point from people.
Why didn't it happen? You were there.
Has anyone met Attorney General Garland? Do you think he was like rooting around in Epstein? Of course he wasn't, because he was so petrified of Republicans attacking him as partisan in any way, shape, or form. He should have. Absolutely, he should have.
House Democrats didn't say a peep about it.
That is not an excuse.
These same Democrats on the House Oversight Committee didn't say anything.
Donald Trump campaigned. His campaign said His attorney general said they'd release the files. Release the files.
Were House Democrats wrong to keep silent in the Biden era over this?
Anyone was wrong to be silent ever.
Okay.
100%.
But that ship has sailed a long time.
Are you for releasing the files now?
Well,
yes
I think,
or no?
I'll tell you,
yes
I think they're going to be, I think that they should do what a judge will allow them to do to protect the privacy of innocent people.
Redact the women's names and release the files.
The judge should decide, but it will be released.
Why should
it won't. You keep saying that.
Why should it? Because they're two separate things.
There
are grand jury materials, which a judge has to decide those things. But there's also things that are fully in the custody of the
Department of Justice. Release them all.
Department of Justice. As far as I'm aware, I don't know. First of all, I should say as a caveat that Arthur, you are one of the attorneys that represents Ghislaine Maxwell, right? But as far as I know, would a judge have a jurisdiction over what is in the custody of DOJ in terms of their investigative files around Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, they would definitely have decision-making power over the grand jury minutes, which the DOJ has it. And the judges have already ruled that, number one, no, we tell the whole world a grand jury is secret, and that's what allows people to go into a grand jury and tell the truth, because they don't have to worry that the whole world is going to know about it, and we're not violating for this. But then the judge also tipped his hand and said, I read the grand jury minutes. Yeah. There's nothing in there that's so explosive that's going to change anything, so we're not going to change any laws because of this. That's number one. But number two, Abby, I went through the law books. I know the facts pretty closely. Let's just say Donald Trump did all of this. We are not talking about a president, George H.W. Bush. We're talking about a president who was elected after he's talking about grabbing women by their private parts. We're talking about a president who's married 4 times. So he sent them a lewd letter. Like, we've spent the 2 topics we've covered about on this show, a poor civilian getting executed, about maybe immigrants getting thrown to the floor and all their rights violated. Those are important topics. I can't get over the fact that a guy who died in August of 2019, we are just spending so much time and effort and energy. So
I'm sorry.
Bill Clinton was on his island. Al Gore knew him. He was a multi-millionaire. Everyone knew him.
I'm sorry that you're defending Ghislaine Maxwell, but I just want you to know,
I'm thrilled I'm defending her. All these men apparently abuse women. There's one person in jail, a woman, for life.
Well, Jeffrey Epstein
you think that makes sense?
Jeffrey Epstein was in jail because he's a sex trafficker. And for you to minimize the victimization of these women is really outrageous. Yeah, you are, because you're like, it's no big deal. It's outrageous.
You know how many people knew Jeffrey Epstein? How many people were on his island? How many people went to his home?
All of them should go to jail.
All of them. Well, that's not the country we live in, that everyone who knows a criminal should go to jail.
That's what's upsetting to the American people, honestly. This kind of statement that powerful people can just get away with it. That's what's upsetting.
Get away with what? What did Bill Clinton do wrong?
Just a second.
He just knew him?
Arthur, the Deputy Attorney General met with Ghislaine, and then she shortly thereafter moved to a Kushida prison.
Yes.
Why?
Well, there are things I'm not allowed to talk about, right? So there are things I can't talk about.
Okay, but let's just
obviously I can talk in generalities.
Let's just pause.
When anybody who's represented by a lawyer who knows what they're doing goes in and meets with the government, there's always a quid pro quo. You don't just take your client in and say, let me talk to you about something. They wanted information from, hypothetically, anytime the government wants an information from a citizen, the citizen says, well, I have a right to remain silent. If you want me to give up that right, I need something in return. Usually it's a plea bargain. Usually your charges are going to be lowered and your exposure. Why are you laughing? I've done that for 35 years.
You just admitted to a quid pro quo with this.
But that's how the whole system works.
Would this have happened before or after the interview? Arthur, would this have happened before or after the interview? Would they have said to her, we're going to do this interview, and in exchange for it, you're going to go to this other prison?
The truth is, Abby, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't have knowledge of when that decision was made. But usually for me, because I did not walk Ghislaine into that particular proceeding, but before I go in and meet a prosecutor with my client, I say, fine, she'll come in and tell you Van also was involved. But before she points the finger at Van, I want some assurance from you that she's going to get a benefit.
For the record, there's nothing Van has been implicated
in. You're a handsome bald man.
I will represent you.
Number one,
go ahead, Kara.
If I do a bad thing, I'm hiring you, which I'm planning to do. 2, I think this is all water under the bridge. Trump campaigned on releasing the files. This has become a political thing. Whatever happens here, there's going to be a push. And by the way, the people that care the most, I spent a lot of time in these MAGA conspiracy theory areas. This is a pillar of that group of people. It's beyond whether it happened in the Biden administration, that boat has sailed. Whether it should be released or not, that boat has sailed. It has to be released at this point, and they have to figure out a way to do it because Donald Trump is going to get enmeshed in this forever.
Okay, we got to leave it there, everyone. Thank you very much. Coming up.
Wow. So let's break down the pathetic playbook we just saw. First, the denial of facts, pretending the birthday letter doesn't exist. Then the classic whataboutery, but what about Biden? And finally, the most stunning moment of all, Maxwell's own lawyer accidentally admitting that the entire justice system for the powerful works on a quid pro quo. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. But Neera Tanden's final passionate indictment was the real checkmate for me. She exposed their entire defense for what it was, a cynical attempt to normalize the idea that powerful people can just get away with it. And this is the entire story in a nutshell. It's a story of corruption, complicity, and a desperate attempt to keep the truth buried. So what do you think? What was the most outrageous part of the lawyer's defense? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit all of the buttons for more. Thanks for watching.